For thinking real estate, Laura Dwyer Schlechte, Bill Schlechte,
Are in the house.
Jackie Austin. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome back.
Hey, I had a call on the way out here.
No.
Oh, no, you actually got a call as a realtor?
Finally.
Wow.
Oh,
No,
good.
actually, this had to
Congratulations.
do. This had to do. Oh, you guys are funny. Have you guys thought about stand-up comedy
No.
as a profession?
Yeah, I do
Really?
it. I do it every time I'm in court. What do you think?
If I can sit down.
Right.
Well, there you go. Well, anyhow, I had a call. I had forwarded an article from one of the people that's on our Walking Coalition task force and our committee regarding bike safety and legislation that just passed in another state, and I don't remember what state it was because I passed this on a couple weeks ago, where you're required to have a safer zone for passing people on bicycles. Wouldn't you like that, Bill? You bike.
I would, and I was out of town for 10 days, and I got back, and I was at Starbucks yesterday morning, and one of the guys I know there who bikes into Starbucks when the weather cooperates told me that a few days ago or something, I hadn't heard this, that a young person got killed on a bicycle at Argyle and Wisner. Is that?
Oh, that
Does that
was
ring a bell?
more than a few days ago.
Yeah, about 2 weeks
That
ago.
was
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, I had not heard about that.
It was a truck or something that
I don't know the
he ran into,
particulars.
or a van.
Well, look, one of my really good friends that I'd known for close to 40 years, Pete Cornell, was one of the guys, 2 guys out of 3 who got killed. They were biking from the North Slope in Alaska all the way to Florida, and they made it to Georgia, and they got killed on bicycles.
Wow.
Hit by a semi.
Yeah. So,
All 3 were hit.
Right.
The last
what's that have to
one
do
hit
with
3.
realists? How's that
Well,
work?
no, I just wanted to reinforce that people, if you slow down, if you see someone, and we were, Jackie and I were walking the dogs last night out on South Jackson Road, and if you see someone walking or biking, it is not going to take you that much more time to slow down and get a safe distance away from them, especially with our roads in the conditions they are. You have no idea if someone's going to trip and fall or on a bicycle hit a pothole and throw them off kilter and land in your path, and you're not going to have time to avoid that.
And that's why I avoid biking south of town. I won't do it anymore because of the condition of the roads. And there are actually people out there, Laura, who resent the fact that they have to share the road with bicyclists and will deliberately try to come close to bicyclists, etc.
And that will never change.
That's never going to
Well, I
change.
hope
That's
it
just
does.
the- that's
I
just the
think
attitude of
as
somebody.
our society
No,
changes.
when you sit there and you plead with drivers,
We
those-
change slowly.
Well, because, you were raised a certain way, and now your children are slightly raised a little bit different, and so on and so forth. But
No, let me finish this thought for you, because you're sitting there, you're pleading with drivers who will already slow down for bicyclists because they're considerate, or for walkers because they're considerate. The people who who resent the presence of vehicles that they think ought not to belong there, you're not going to solve. So the way to solve it is to actually create bike paths and bike lanes so that, in fact, bicyclists have a safe zone in which to operate. But that doesn't have a whole lot to do with real estate.
well, sure it does, because I think if you provide
Quality of life.
quality of life.
Well, and we can
That's
talk about
exactly
anything
right.
on this show. This is thinking about the quality
I
of
told
life,
you,
not thinking real
it's a
estate.
It's a
Lifestyle
lifestyle show.
Yeah. Okay, so
Bill,
thinking
come on.
lifestyle. All right, we're going to
Well, and especially with people texting. I mean, people really need to pay attention in the summer because there are.
It's not even just texting. People who
It's-
sit there and dial a number,
Yeah.
people who are talking on a cell phone. There's so much distraction. The only place I bicycle these days is up north, where I have a 30-mile route that I know is safe, 40-mile route that if I go in the morning I know is safe. Or you go to the northwest side of the state where there are nice roads, lots of hills, low traffic. Those are the places to
In the
bike
middle of
these days.
nowhere, in other words.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, if I had a bike, I would certainly stay off the major roads.
Yeah.
But
wouldn't
some
go- I
people
wouldn't go
ride to
anywhere near 'em.
work.
Huh?
Fitness Council is designed to encourage people to walk and bike to work.
Yeah, well.
And I
that's-
think you're going to see a lot more of that.
That's
Bill's
how you're-
youngest son, who's 29, doesn't drive.
That's at your own risk.
Yeah, I think there's a huge risk of being a bicyclist on the roads today.
And I don't know what the percentage is. I mean, it is a risk. I don't know.
I know plenty of people that, I was up in Ottawa City last week, and I'm at the gym, and one of the girls that works at the gym, on her way to the gym, got hit by a woman. She was on her bike, had a huge bruise on her leg. Fortunately, the woman was starting out. She was stopped at the stoplight on US 23, turning left on M55. But for some reason didn't see the girl, but she got hit on the bike and knocked over. So I can tell you.
Was
tons
she
of
on the
people-
bike path? I mean, because also it's our responsibility as people who bike to make sure we're
She was
minding the
crossing. She was
rules.
crossing the road with the red light. She was crossing M55 with the red light in her favor. The person was turning left using the green light and hit her in the
What
intersection.
an idiot! What was she doing?
What do you mean?
Blind?
The person driving?
Yeah.
Don't know. I mean, it wasn't a serious thing. She got a big bruise on her leg. Apparently, didn't do anything about it. But I'm just here to tell you that as much as I love biking and I love bicycling, and I go for long bike rides, but there are just you take your life in your hands on roads in populated areas.
Well, the point is to bring attention to it. So hopefully there's just one person last night that drove past me really fast and didn't move over. And hopefully that person's listening and stop.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, they're watching Monster Truck right now or something.
Actually, it was an older man in a four-door sedan, which really surprised me.
I probably had an eyesight issue. You
Yeah,
can't really see very
Could
well.
be. I mean, it is important that we wear the right clothing too, so people can see.
Oh,
And, you know, you got to pay attention to when I'm crossing Jefferson and Jackson where they curve together, and the sun's in a spot. We have to consciously think about what can the driver see or not see. It's everybody's responsibility to be safe. Everybody.
With words of wisdom from
Right.
Laura Dwyer Schleck.
That's right. So before we jump into our topic that we breezed
All
over.
right, we don't have any time.
yeah, you better hurry.
Well, anyhow, I just wanted to give some
We did
current.
this last time.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, no, not
You
we.
two,
Don't
you
include
guys
me.
can
Don't in-
argue, and
don't
it
in-
just takes up
don't
more
include-
time.
Don't include,
Okay,
don't
so
include
the
me in that
average sale
pronoun
price
we.
right now in through June is I'm sorry, looking at the wrong one. The average sale price through June is $79,323. Something's happening in our market. I can't explain it.
Is that-
Compared to last year, it was
Is that low?
83.3. Yeah,
It's
it
pretty low.
dropped.
Yeah.
It dropped.
Okay.
And we have 718 closings compared to 864. So despite the fact we have fewer houses selling, the price has dropped.
What does that tell you?
It's the first time I'm looking at the numbers in a couple of weeks, so I don't know what that tells me. I'm going to think about it. We'll talk
Probably
about it
more
next week.
activity in the city, wouldn't you say? No?
I don't know. I'm going to look. I'm going to analyze this, and we'll talk about it a little bit next week. How's
Okay,
that?
all right.
All right. So let's talk. I have one question for you that should take up the rest of the time. We have a case.
Because I'm known for giving long-winded answers. Is
Right,
that what
I
you're
did.
suggesting, my darling?
I did use you as an example yesterday when I was giving someone some advice.
Of how to give a
How to-
yes or no answer?
Well, how to not take up the whole conversation. Anyhow.
I wonder which side of the debate she used me on. Surprise, surprise.
I did say you're quite intelligent, though. So.
Well, that's always encouraging for your own spouse to say that.
Right.
You're lucky.
Yeah, I guess so. Most of them say they're dumb.
All right.
so-and-so.
So anyhow, I have a house that we're closing on soon, and there is an oil and gas lease out there that apparently does not have an end date. Is that legal? Kind of a
Yes or no?
simple question, and it's probably a complicated answer.
The answer is no, but you didn't read the lease because you sent me a copy of it. I read it right on the first page. It says the term is 5 years.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't read the lease. I was taking
Well, it
the
always helps
lenders.
to do that.
Well, no, I haven't had time.
I
I
thought
haven't
there
been
was
in the office long enough.
something that extended it. a
Well, there is,
ratification or
but that's true in every oil and gas lease. Think about this. If you are an oil and gas producer, you're Shell Oil, you come in and you lease somebody's land, typically, most oil and gas leases have a 5-year term. That's fairly standard. There may be an option to renew, but not that often. So I have a 5-year term. You want the answer?
I do.
It's
there
just
always
so the
an-
listeners will know. Laura's now distracted.
Well,
Like a
no,
squirrel
it
into
looked like
something else.
Jackie wanted me to talk about something. I didn't know what the abbreviations meant. and then she pointed out it was last week's agenda, so I'm not sure why I had.
Is there always an option, Bill?
No, almost never on that. Most of the
Almost never?
Not the options. You have a 5-year term, but what it provides and what Laura and Jackie are talking about and the lender talking about is that if during the 5-year term, Shell Oil or Traverse, West Traverse.
West Bay?
West Bay.
Yep.
Any one of these companies come in and they drill a well, as long as they have operations on the property that have commenced during the 5-year term, that lease will continue so long as operations are on that property and will continue unless there's an interruption or an abandonment for 90 days or more. In other words, if I put a well on a property, I may expect that it's going to produce for 15, 20, 30 years. And so
But you only have a 5-year.
5-year term in which to do the exploration. If I don't do any drilling or do anything else on that property in the 5 years, that lease ends. But it's extreme, not only common, it's universal in an oil and gas lease that if I spend the time, money, and effort to drill a well, which is a huge investment, and it now produces oil, gas, some product, then it may continue for 20 years. And under the lease, it says as long as we continue to produce, as long as we have operations on that property, the lease will continue until such time as there's a 90-day hiatus, a 90-day gap in the activity. There's also something called a shut-in well. You know, what happens is you gotta remember that these wells, the gas comes through the well, it's under pressure. The natural gas and the oil is under pressure, and it goes to the wellhead. Well, that pressure dissipates. You now release the pressure at the wellhead, and so what happens is the pressure decreases and the production decreases. And so the company, the oil and gas company, will do what's called shut-in. It will actually shut down that well, and it may shut down other wells that are proximate to that well in order to allow the natural pressure underground to increase. So it's what's called a shut-in well. And your lease even provides for a shut-in. In other words, if the well is not abandoned but is simply shut in to allow future production because it's capable of future production, then the lease will continue. But it's not as if there is, quote, no end date, end quote, there is. It's the initial 5-year term in which they have to do the exploration. Then if they're producing,
So
then
I
it
think that
continues.
lease was written in 1990.
1990.
I don't think there's anything that's been done, so it's a dead lease.
No,
basically.
not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, okay?
Would the terms roll over after 5 years?
No, yeah, everything would roll over if there are
obviously you
operations,
gotta pay.
etc.
Do they have to go? They have to get if they haven't done anything in the 5 years.
If they haven't done
have
anything
to get-
at that point, then they're done. If they
right,
haven't
and
done
they would
anything
have
in
to
the
go
5
back
years,
to the landowner,
back to the
and get
landowner,
permission,
yeah.
which hasn't been done in this
okay,
case.
then what's going to happen is for the title company, all the title company will require is an affidavit from the owner that says there has been no activity whatsoever on the property. If you look at the lease itself, it will define the term, quote, operations, end quote. And the affidavit will say that the owner under oath says that there have been no activities, no operations conducted at all on the property. That affidavit will allow the title company to remove the oil and gas lease as an exception.
Yeah, this particular owner didn't even know there was an oil and gas lease on the property, so that would tell you there's been no operation.
Yeah,
Unless-
the owner
they're-
did know, because when they bought the property, they got a title commitment, a title policy, and I looked at that copy of the lease. I'm virtually certain that it's recorded, so the title company would have found it. So the fact that the owners didn't know or don't know that there's an oil and gas lease simply means they didn't read their own title policy.
Well, probably. I don't think a lot of buyers and sellers read their own policies.
I find that hard to believe, because
Well, what if you had it for 4 years and 11 months and you started digging a well?
you're golden as the
Really?
lessee. Sure,
That's
sure.
crazy.
No, it's not at all. Not
Really?
crazy. No, because
You don't do anything for 4?
You gotta remember that first of all, oil and gas exploration isn't a sure thing.
No.
I don't know what the statistics are in terms of production of wells, and I'll tell you, for example, we had this conversation. I met with a group of landowners up in northern Michigan because we're starting litigation against Chesapeake Energy again. We went through one wave of lawsuits. We're now starting a second wave of lawsuits with about 50 landowners, and I had a conversation with one of the oil and gas guys up there, and he was explaining to me in the Antrim play back in the 80s, the early mid-80s, because of the formation, you could drill one well that would be producing, and you could drill another well 100 yards away. It would be what we call a sour well. It didn't have a product that was capable of being sold, and simply because of the formation. So when a company makes the investment of drilling that well, then they're going to be entitled to continue their operations as long as that well is capable of producing product. Now, and the other thing that's happening now is with the advent of horizontal drilling and the ability now to bend pipe in any direction without compromising the integrity of the well itself, you can take one wellhead and drill down, and you can now go 360 degrees from it on a horizontal basis, and you can go out 2 or 3 miles with a pipe in order to extract, using, in that particular scenario, fracking, to extract natural gas.
So could they be doing that on a property owner's land and the property owner wouldn't know that
No,
it's
no,
happening?
no,
I mean, they may know that
no,
there's a
no.
lease existing,
No.
but would,
No, you could have, in order...
Theory, yeah.
In order to
You
be
could.
able, no, you will know about it because in order to get a permit to drill that well, the oil and gas company or the wildcatting company, the exploration company, must get, in that part of that permit, they have to create a pool of landowners whose land they will be drawing the oil and gas from. You may not even have surface facilities on your property.
Right.
You could have what's called a non-developmental lease. They can't do any surface work at all. Nevertheless, they may be from a well on the adjacent property. They are slant hole drilling, or they are now doing the horizontal
So-
drilling, and they're taking it from your property, but they can't take it from your property without including you in the pool, and that will be part of the permit issued by the DNR.
okay, so they have a lease on my property, 3 years into the lease, they drill a well a mile down the road. They think they're gonna get gas off of all this property, including ours. I'll know because they're gonna send me a notice.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
You're gonna get a royalty check. If they start producing from that well, from
But I mean,
from
before
product
I
on your
start
property.
producing and they start the process of drilling under my property, somehow I'll know because of the
No.
permitting process?
Yeah, because of the permitting process.
Okay.
You'll be notified that your part, first of all, you will, in most pools, the property owners will have signed oil and gas leases. But
Right.
there may be holdouts, and so those people are included in the pool under a state statute that says even if you're a holdout and you don't sign an oil and gas lease, if there is, I'm trying to remember if it's 50% or 2/3 of the owners within a pool sign oil and gas leases, then you are mandatorily included by the state, and you will get a check even though you didn't sign an oil and gas lease. And within a pool, you might have different companies who have leases, and in that case, they'll create what's called an AMI, an agreement for an area of mutual interest, in which one company will do the drilling, even though several companies have leases, and then they will share the costs and the proceeds.
How are they compensated, Bill?
1/6 royalty, could be 1/8 royalty, 1/6 royalty in certain circumstances if it's a high producing well and they negotiate with you. But you'll get a certain percentage of the royalties after the production costs, and that sometimes becomes an issue between the oil company and the landowner, where the oil company includes soft costs, which are not production costs, trying to increase the amount they get and reduce the amount
I
the owner
assume
gets.
there has to be some accounting that's provided to
There-
people.
Well,
Yeah.
there
Any
is, but
upfront money
by whom?
by the oil company?
Oh, yeah, that's what our lawsuits up in northern Michigan are about, because Chesapeake Energy was bidding primarily against Encana. And the people that I met with yesterday were promised bonuses of either $1,750 per acre or $1,900 an acre. And we've accumulated out of these 50 owners, there's probably 10,000 acres or somewhere around that. So if you take 10,000 acres, take that at $1,800 an acre, you're talking about a powerful amount of money that's front-end money. That's bonus payment.
I mean, would a gas company come in and say, I'm gonna give you
that's
$1,000
what
a
I'm-
month
Oh,
plus a
no. What they do is they do an initial bonus.
4% of whatever we take out of the...
No.
No.
What it is, bonus payment on the front end. Bonus payments are traditionally, if down here, they might be $50 an acre, $100 an acre, maybe less, maybe no bonus payment. And then it's a straight royalty. It's not a percent, it's a straight royalty, either, as I say, 1/8, could be 1/7, 1/6 in certain circumstances. That's how you get compensated. And you get the bonus payment. I mean, that's what Chesapeake Energy is being sued for, not only by us, but by a number of other landowners represented by other lawyers, claiming that Chesapeake welched or reneged on these bonus payments, huge amounts of bonus payments. The state got $178 million in bonus payments in the May 2010
I want to get in on
auction.
that lawsuit.
Well, why did?
Well, the problem is you got to own land that was
Mere
leased.
formality.
Yeah.
Well, you have
Are
a
you
lot.
selling anything?
I'm
Before
trying
we
to.
go?
I'm trying to. I've got a house that we've got a price reduction on, 411 West Morale. Nice, very cool house. Hardwood floor, natural woodwork. First floor is amazing.
That's between
Um,
Fourth and
Second,
First and second,
first, second, first.
Okay.
I think it's it's just east of Second, and that's 4 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, newer kitchen, almost it's over 2,200 square feet. Has a great detached 2-car garage with a fence and yard, wonderful yard. It's down to 73.1. Nice house. That is a short sale, but need buyers.
call this number.
780-3800. I'll take good care of you.